Today I'm having a delve into the figures cabinet, and the theme is going to be The Walking Dead and your good old zombie apocalypse. So just to start off with, here's a little view of what we've got to play with figures wise. So all the figures on the left here are the walkers from the Walking Dead game, along with all the baddies, and there's good old Negan, the governor, Brian Blake, and a few others, so a few prisoners, bits and pieces. Then I've got, as up to date as I am in the collection with my Walking Dead figures, you can obviously see Rick there, Herschel, Carl, and a whole bunch of others. There's even a little lion there for Ezekiel, if you can see him. Sorry, tiger. And then I've got some oddities. So this was mainly figures from the Project Z, a sort of zombie game by Wall of Games. I don't think it was a particularly successful game, and I don't think you can get the figures anymore either. There's a whole bunch of figures I did for all my friends a couple of years ago, basing them all, and they're all multi-part sort of plasticky put together ones, basing them all on various people I know, so that's all cool. I've got a few other weird ones in there, so I've got some law enforcement guys in there just for fun, and then I have another zombie horde. These are all figures from the Project Z range, and there's some others that I think were War Games Factory or something like that, and again they're all multi-part and they're all quite fun. So that's it. So we've got loads of zombies, loads of good guys, loads of bad guys, and more zombies. So I'll get the battle mats out, I'll get the scenery out, and we'll see what we can do. Just a quick overview, I've got all the stuff out now. So here are all of the vehicles in 2 containers. I've got all the figures, so this is all of the Project Z stuff, and broadly those are all of the Walking Dead walkers, and this is all of the Walking Dead goodies and baddies. Then I've got all my scenery, which you can see hiding away. All kinds of good stuff. The battle mats. I've just laid out the 4 battle mats briefly. So that's the prison. This is the basic battle mat. It's like the one you get with the original box set, with the paper bay. This one's like a meadow, and this one's like the farm. But ultimately, well, I've just put them together roughly, you can see that they all fit together. Starting off then, we're in the Atlanta camp from Volume 1, Days Gone By. We've got Herschel standing on top of his Winnebago at the camp. Number of the early characters here, can't name them all, but you can see some obvious ones there, like there's Carl, there's Shane, Rick's just down there, and there's a fella called Jim, I think, who gets killed in this one. So they're all camped out in the woods, wondering what to do, and they're pretty sure of themselves. And then one night there's a massive attack of walkers, and it all goes really bad really quickly for them. So this is just my little recreation. So there's the Winnebago, surrounded by the tents, just off with a bit of greenery. Got a couple of the girls have been down to the stream, got cut off by some zombies. Rick, Shane and Jim trying to work their way through to get them back. And then you've got a horde coming off of the edge of the board here. There's Glenn, he's been out scouting, see the horde coming, and now they're coming through the woods, and our survivors are clustered round, desperately trying to defend the campsite. There's the kids, can't remember what they were called, Bill and Ben or something like that, Andrea and Amy, I think. Laurie, and a few of the others. So this is scene 1 for us. The Atlanta camp. Great fun, this. And we played this as a game once. Variation on it. Just some of the detail. This is the Winnebago. This was an MDF Winnebago. I really like this one. Love the interior. And I was quite happy with the paint job I did on it as well. Really nice Herschel's wagon. And some of the figures are really good. These are all the first release. So if you look at Herschel there, he's a really nice figure. And you've got the classic Rick and Shane there as well. And this is just a good excuse to get some really gory figures on the board. Also various walkers in absolutely crappy condition. Okay, that's the first one. For the next one, we're down on the farm. It's the Green family farm, and here's Herschel and one of his children whose name escapes me. So this is Herschel's house, the farmhouse. And as we zoom out, the infamous red barn. And this is just a little scene of family life on the farm. Couple of vehicles on this one. So this is one of the base vehicles. I modded this one up, just put some tarpaulins on it so it looked like it had been kind of left for dead, like a lot of agricultural stuff. The buildings are great. I really love these. Can't remember the manufacturers. I think it might have been Foreground, and this is some kind of colonial building, I think. And likewise with the actual shed. So that was an early version. I'm not sure if that's the one that Mantic produced. So the scene we've got here is we've got Herschel's overseeing the family herding 3 walkers into the barn. You remember, because of their religious beliefs, they didn't think it was right to kill them, and they still had souls and they could be rescued, and most of these walkers were known to them. They were neighbours and friends, so they wanted to look after them rather than kill them. And there's this, this is a really cool figure, this one. This is the bloater figure, the fellow they get out of the well. A little bit dark here, unfortunately. Yeah, that's the bloke that was trapped down the well that I have to deal with. So it's just a nice sort of domestic scene. And of course, inside the barn, as we well know, it's chock-a-block full of walkers, and it's not going to end well. So just a little slice of life on the farm. Really enjoy this scenery. It's really nice and pretty. And these battle mats are fabulous. Again, the vehicles are great with fun as well. Just out of the basic set this is, they just do basically a couple of pickup trucks and you can muck around with them a bit. The farmhouse building is lovely. Really enjoyed this. It's quite a big piece. The roof comes off and you get a really basic interior. There's no stairs or floors or anything in it, but certainly enough for gaming purposes, just to put your figures in if they were under siege or whatever. Yeah, bit of life on the Green farm, and I'm saying that's before Rick and the others turn up and it all goes very badly. Welcome back. We're on the third part of the video and we're now in Woodbury with Brian Blake, the governor. So this is before the Rick and company come to Woodbury, and the scene is Brian Blake, the governor, controlling Woodbury after he took power there. That's one of his right hand men, Carlos, and you can see some other guys coming up, and we're at the wall. So we're right on the wall at Woodbury, got to defend Woodbury. And what we've got coming on is masses and masses of walkers. It's just a little thin slice of walkers here to get them on the board. Pressing against one of the defenders, desperately trying to stop them getting in, plug any gaps. So I'm using the Woodbury board. These aren't the Woodbury buildings. I've never got around to doing those, unfortunately. They're on my to-do list. So the buildings, if I can just come out a little bit for you. These are, I think, again, they're foreground buildings. They're kind of 1950s suburban wrecked buildings. They do made versions of these as well, and these were just beautiful to do. They're already coloured. These just a massive kind of airfix kit for buildings. Really, really good fun. The detail on them is just phenomenal. If I come right out, you can just see the basic setup. So you've got the footprints of the houses here, and I've covered them up with a church as well, and a little security guard's booth just to cover them up. A couple of vehicles. They've obviously got a couple of motors running, and they've rushed down to this section of the barricades because it's all going a bit Pete Tong. You've got various hard men, so you remember that there was one of the ways they entertain themselves at Woodbury is by having fights with walkers in like an arena. So there's a couple of guys in there, American hockey armour and bits and pieces. This character up here is lovely. This is a lady called Lily. There's a whole series of books about her separately that are fantastic, well worth investing in. But she was quite chummy with the governor at one point. Doesn't last well after that. And then just various other kind of roughy toughy types. I like this geezer with a knife, kind of lunging out, trying to stab this walker in the eye. He's one of the heavies. And then over here we've got the guy with a shotgun, who, if I remember rightly, I think that's the guy that actually shoots Rick right at the very beginning of the of Days Gone By, Volume 1. And then just some more fellas running down to plug the gaps. So I really enjoyed this. Good chance to get lots and lots of walkers out on the board. And this would just be, obviously, the first rank, and there would be, you know, Horde going off the table here. So just a little bit of chaos and carnage at Woodbury for the governor to deal with. And Marlene is completely unimpressed. So that's it for Woodbury. What I forgot to do was show you the detail on these buildings, just so you can really appreciate how good they are. So the roofs come off, and you can see all the detail. You can see through into the rooms below. That's super creepy. All the doors can be open or shut. There's panes of glass in the windows that you can scratch to be broken. And they all sit on little basements as well. So there's about an inch of crawl space underneath, which would be quite critical if you were held out in one of these things and you're under attack by a horde. And I love these wrecked ones, just because they just so fit with the whole kind of Walking Dead theming where everything's knackered. Again, just taking the lid off there. Trapdoors. That open, leading up into the attic. And then you can take these floors off as well, and you get the benefit of the full floor plan. And you can see through into this little basement as well, with all the bits of debris. All the doors move around. Let's take a look at this one as well. And I've just kind of piled up crap in there. Another little trapdoor there into the basement, a bit like the Evil Dead. And these are also this wonderful MDF smell, that kind of burnt wood that's always so good at wargaming shows. And just to finish off, you wouldn't have this exposed. These are the tiny little basements. And they've got some really nice detailing on these, look. So you can see right through into them if you want to. These really are exceptional. The church was, I think it's a Wild Westy styling church, but I was going for the church that Gabriel held up in when they find him. That's around the time of Fear the Hunters, if I remember rightly. And this again is just a number of pieces, so you've got like a crashed church spire. Lovely big roof. And you've got the same thing, all the doors open. You've got all the smashed in windows, which are really atmospheric, and big holes in the floor with a nice dark basement. It's quite a nice effect when you're looking through into it. So there you go, I didn't really do those justice. I hope I've made up for it now. So, second part of the prison, and if you know the comic books, you know what's coming down the road. So here we've got the governor and his band of bad guys. So Brian Blake has had a visit in the night from Michonne, left for dead. He's lost an arm and his crown jewels, to say the least. And he's not happy about it. There's a National Guard armoury nearby, and there's a Bradley's armoured fighting vehicle there that they managed to get running. I don't think the guns worked on it, but that's not the point. It was really intimidating. So what we've got is you've got the governor and his people have all turned up for the big showdown with Rick and the survivors. So on the left here, you've got the governor and all his vehicles and his cronies. Down the middle, there's like a little line of walkers who would normally just be milling around outside. And for these walkers, I've used kind of the prison-specific ones. So this is a riot guard who's been disemboweled. This is a walker who's getting a little bit too close to the Brian Blake and co. I've got the Shane Walker here, and this is the guys from Woodbury are having to deal with these and get them out of the way. The vehicles are a bit of a mix, so these are some out of the base set, and then these are some kind of matchbox type, you know, the die-cast vehicles I've just dirtied up. And it's a whole bunch of different bad guys. Some of these are out of the Here's Negan box. Some of them are just the basics, and there's obviously all the Woodbury guys that you've seen earlier. So there you go. The stage is set for an epic showdown. Again, great fun to do this. Really good fun doing these. The prison was an absolute joy to put together a while ago. Doing all the little posters and stuff was just good as well. Just kind of brings them to life a bit. And again, you've got good detailing, so you can see through windows, you can see through fences, which gives it a good look. Really nice. The battle maps all just fit together. So this is the basic battle map just at Road Junction, and underneath this battle map, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, this is the battle map for the prison set if you don't have the buildings, and it's just a duplicate of what you can make in 3D with either this MDF kit or the official MDF kit by Mantic. But as I say, this was an early version by another company whose name escapes me, but I'm very happy with. Okay, well, there you go. That's Woodbury and the prison all sorted out. This Bradley's was a really cheap and nasty thing I got off of eBay. It was an absolute pig to make. I think it had like a little motor inside it. It was absolutely bloody awful. I'm quite happy with the paint job, and it's the right tank, as it were, for the scenario. That's what I used in the books. There you go. This is the battle line. Rick's in the crap yet again, but I'm sure I'll get out of it. He always seems to, doesn't he? Okay, that's it for this one. Cheers. For the next video then, this is a piece of complete fiction. Not that it's all real, is it? It's all zombies and stuff. So you might remember this car from the early part of season 1, I think, where Sophia goes missing, and they leave some supplies for her right on the windscreen of a car. But that doesn't go back. That doesn't go well for him. So here we are in my next scenario, and this is one I've run previously, but I've kind of supercharged it just for the purposes of this demo. It's completely fictional, and what we've got here is we've got Rick on horseback, as you remember him from when he was zooming about Atlanta just before he gets his horse eaten out from under him. But what I've got here is a bunch of lovely sheriff's officers, which were crooked dice maybe? Can't remember off the top of my head. I'll just turn them around for you quickly because they are fabulous. This fella here, he's the sheriff out of Stranger Things, and these other figures are just lovely. They're kind of generic American law enforcement types, and I've done them up as sheriffs. So, what's going on here? What we got here is we've got the remnants of Rick's police department. Again, their name escapes me, it's not important. And they've just come across the side of a big lump of highway that's all jammed up. And what you've got on the other side of the highway is a National Guard barricade. So you've got a striker, which is basically the National Guard armoured personnel carrier that they use, and there's a helicopter, an army helicopter that touched down. And what you'll see is there's crates and crates and crates of supplies dotted all over the place. This is ammunition, food, medicine, everything the players need so very badly all the time. But between them and that checkpoint is a highway, and it's a highway that's jam-packed full of crashed cars and abandoned vehicles. And of course, it's just starting that one again because I accidentally turned it off. So what you got here is you've got the players down here in this tree line trying to get to the resources and supplies over here at the far end of the map, and down the middle here you've got a mass of cars forming a bit of a maze for them to go between, and a good number of walkers for them to try and navigate their way by. There's some fun ones here. All the walkers I've used this time, rather than being the Walking Dead Mantic walkers, these are the Project Z and some other manufacturers. So he got a cop, quite like him. He's got a severed arm handcuffed to his wrist. There's a nice biker guy here, and I've got him with a severed head just to be super gory. All of these are just multi-part plastics. You can paint up however you like. So we've got like a businessman over here by the helicopter. These were some resin corpses. You can see that little fella, we can only hope. So there's a few kind of corpses littered about. I particularly like this one, just in the flatbed of a truck, just like a body that's withered away and decomposed. Now this is what I thought would be interesting as well. I've done up some of the figures, like this fella here and this fella here, as kind of Walker National Guardsmen. So the idea would be, you can see they're carrying rifles, ammunition, maybe some food, maybe some rations. There's another one over here, an officer who's still got his pistol in his hand on his lanyard. So if you can take these out, you're actually equipping yourself with some pretty heavy firepower, which would be pretty cool and very, very helpful for you. So the big conundrum here, especially with these characters, you'll see they're all really well armed. So they've got pistols. That's a hassle-free figure. I can't remember him. He's been done 101 times over by various people in various colour schemes, but he came out really nice as a sheriff. So shotguns, pistols, you can see they've got assault rifles. They're really, really heavily armed, this lot. But if you know the rules to The Walking Dead, gunshots bring walkers. So you can very, very quickly find yourself absolutely overrun. These are all little choke points you need to get through. There's no clear path. When you get here, you've got to have enough time to actually spend in the supplies. We did this on all I had was just a striker, so the idea was you had to get into the striker, and I had 2 opposing teams of survivors fighting each other and the walkers, and that was great fun. The striker, just out of interest, is the Empress striker. Beautiful, really enjoyed making this. Quite a simple kit, but great fun to paint up and dirty up. The military helicopter, this is like out of a pound shop or something. I bought a couple of them. I think it was originally done up as a journalist's chopper or something. I've redone that. There's a cheap motorbike I bought online. I haven't had a chance to sort that out yet. It's far too plasticky and toy-like at the moment. It hasn't had the Walking Dead treatment, but it will do in due course. And as I say, just got a mass of just good fun zombie figures that you can make as horrible or as nice as you like. As an aside, this sheriff's car is the car that comes in the basic set, but I've done that as close as I can to Rick's original sheriff's car that he dumped. You've got this fella here, I like this one. He's just lining up his shot on this lady, who is very dead and deadly. I kind of like this one. Someone splatted off, caught underneath the front wheels of the Mini. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun putting these scenarios together and doing things. So I'll just come out of this and then we'll move on to the final part of the video. Hope you enjoy. This is the last video and this is a grand finale, and we finish off with an epic fight between Michonne and Negan. So what we got here is we've got a bunch of the good guys versus a bunch of the bad guys, and the good guys are all around the Speedy Mart convenience store, which they're defending against the rampaging hordes of Negan and the other horrible people. So quite a lot of figures here. Quite like this fella, little American flag on his back, Trump supporter fella, very nice. King Ezekiel and his tiger eating somebody. There's a few figures that will be the same character over and over again because they're so nice. So we've got Michonne that I had in the prison set up in a prison garb. Herschel's down there, and then this is from the Walking Dead video game. I think it's Lee and Clementine. Herschel's in there for good luck. We'll go around the back of the Quickie Mart. And over here we've got Rick on horseback because it's a cool figure. And then we've got another epic showdown between Michonne and Negan with different figures, and they're really nice. That is Sane Morgan before he goes absolutely lunatic, and Dwayne while his son's alive. Some figures you've already seen. Nice cars here. I can't remember who makes them, but they make kind of disaster cars, which are all good. This is Glenn in his prison riot gear taking out a walker. So that's what we've got going on that side of the board. It's kind of your usual showdown between good and evil, blah blah blah. But moving on, what we've got going on over here. Well, you've seen these houses before. Just so you know, this is a battle mat by Deep Cut Studios. It's lovely. It's too big for my table, unfortunately, so I've had to hang it over the edge. So what we've got here is we've got a load of zombies, and these are all the Mantic ones. You've seen most of these already, and they're at the back of the petrol station. They're moving through to where the gang are all holed up in the big farmhouse that I'm reusing as a big kind of manor house. So what we've got here, we've got a Shane Walker there. Quite like this bit. So I've got, this is Glenn doing what Glenn does best. He's on a children's climbing frame and he's running back because he's been out scouting or doing something brave, and he's going to jump off there onto the police car and then back to the safety of the barricades. And what you've got here is you've got masses and masses of walkers all forming up against the barricades that you get with the base game that I've just thrown around this building, and various characters fighting to defend. We've got Tyrese over here with his hammer, out front doing a bit of close-up dirty work, as is Rick and Shane, who's alive for a change, holding off all the bad guys. And we've got the lovely Abraham figure. I've just stuck him up there on the porch. Don't know if you can quite see him, but he's a lovely big chunky military figure, really, really nice. So that's what we've got going on that bit of the board. But this is a big map, so there's a lot more going on. So we're going to come on to the next bit now. So this is what it must feel like to be on the receiving end of a horde. So these are survivors rushing to try and plug the gap, because here comes a horde. Here they are. And they're not stopping, they're very, very nibbly. So these are all the Project Z and other zombies that I've got, just all pushed into a nice big horde coming down the road and being quite unstoppable. But what I didn't figure out was all of my mates. So all of these figures, the kind of the handmade plastic kit survivor figures that I made over the years for all my mates, well, just based on my mates really. And there's also some others that have been painted for me by friends. So this little fella up here, he's from the Left 4 Dead game, and he was painted by my mate Lee. This is a great figure. This is me. My mate Steve had this one done of me, so that's me alive. There's a dead version somewhere. I'm a zombie over there, and I think there's a corpse somewhere as well. So all of these were different figures. This one I remember quite well because this is Dennis in his FedEx hat with his American football, I think it's Redskins jersey. Oh, I've just found myself, I'm dead over there. Look. That's handy. Various other people, I think that's, I've lost track of who's who. But there's loads of people. So you've got the melee people coming in. There's a few metal figures in here as well that were just really appropriate. The people have done up for me. Again, that's one that Lee did for me. He's the old soldier from the Left 4 Dead video game. Then a load of the plastics that I've made up. That's a good hassle for it. He's quite a well-known figure, quite well used. And here's kind of the mob's eye view. Here's Millwall Darren. Just had a couple of pints. It's a home game, obviously. This is the Dino Gas petrol station. I think it's TT. Really enjoyed making that. That's great. It's got a lovely interior as well. Various people up on the roof. And I think that's Tom Reap in his German football shirt. And then all the nutters on motorbikes I did up as well. I think Ook's there. Yeah, Ook's there. Steve and Les. Yeah, everybody's there. And a few others that people have done up for me for fun. I think these might be Lee again. Really nicely done. So that's what you've got going on now. So really, it's a big old board full of carnage. So you've got the horde down there, and the survivors trying to block the horde. You've got all the traditional Walking Dead characters over here, Besiege. Oh, and over here, there's some other figures I forgot I'd done up. These are just some plastic kind of military police. So I did like a little 4-man SWAT team who have just walked down the railway track and walked into this lot on their first walk of the day, so he's in for a surprise. So just to try and show you the whole thing, it's pretty much chaos, but great fun. And there's plenty to catch your eye. It's so good to actually get all the figures out, you know, get them out of the boxes and enjoy them and actually get them on a mat. Obviously something like this would be impossible game, but it just looked really pretty, didn't it? Various buildings. Yeah, this is a really good model. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just take the lid off for you. Whoop. And you can see there's areas inside. So there's a garage area you can put a car, and then there's this what was quite torturous to do as a checkered flooring. The Speedy Mart, based on the one out of The Simpsons, the Quickie Mart. So I'll just get the lid off. Ooh, I'm going to put the camera down for a second because that's quite a tight lid. Again, I think this is maybe TT. It's a nice model again. yeah, so I've just put some basic shelving in there, so you can have a little bit of a play around in there, and you can look out the windows at the chaos that's coming down the road here. Tiger, yeah, everybody loves Tiger. And that Ezekiel figure's great. I stole an idea off somebody online, and all those little stars on Ezekiel's beautiful waistcoat are all just decals from World War II, I think 100th or something like that. Yeah, so just about reused everything you've seen already. Love the mat, absolutely love the mat. It's actually about another foot on the table, so there should be 2 rows. But it works really well. It doesn't matter that things aren't exactly where they should be, and that you're in kind of car parks and stuff. I think the illusion works well. I particularly like just this little touch at the back where they've just put in like a little corner of railway track and a railway crossing. I think just that's a really nice touch. Really good texture on it as well. Everything blends in. One of the things you'll see obviously is I'm a big fan of the clear bases. Now I appreciate that when you look at them and they catch them in the light, you're seeing lots of little slithers of shining glass. Just imagine though if these were just kind of brown bases or grey bases, it would just become a right old mess. And I'm a real big fan of clear bases for anything where you're using proper battle mats and where you've got proper terrain to go over. Yeah, okay. I think probably done this one to death, but seeing as it's going to take forever to put away, thought I'd enjoy it. Some of the easy stuff like the cars, different ways of doing cars, that's a salt weathering technique. That one I really like. I was talking about the different crushed and destroyed cars. That's like a house has fallen on it. A load of brick. The normal car is basically that car in the base set, and this pickup truck. But it's really easy to convert the basic cars into police cars by cutting the lights off of these pickup trucks and just sticking them on top. As you'll see, there's one I've cut the lights off and just filled it. So there's so much you can do with this. There's such variety around the types of zombie characters and the way you can paint them up. Gore's an interesting thing. It's really easy to go over the top on the gore, and some of them I have because I was having such fun with them. But in real life when we're talking about zombie apocalypse, I think a lot of the gore would have been dried up and mushy and horrible and kind of blackened and decaying rather than fresh and red and dripping. But you know, when you're doing gore, you've got to enjoy yourself, and you've got to have a bit of, no, I can't focus on that. You've got to have a bit of claret, and I think these Project Z ones were the first ones I did, and I got a bit carried away with the, I think I used something called Blood for the Blood God, which is a Games Workshop design. Kind of blood. It's really good, and it does look like blood. Other things I use quite a lot of are decals. So on the tank of that bike, which is the Uke bike, you'll see Russian tank markings. I've used a few on other people, so I've got like a bit of a Hell's Angel fella here. He's got like a Prussian cross, and I think Darren's got a Union Jack decal on his t-shirt because he's a football hooligan, of course. Right, I'm gonna sign out now and put this away. So this is just wrapping up my zombie apocalypse. I took the day off work just to get everything out of the box, and it's been a pretty full day. I'll put this in video form and I hope you like it. Thank you all, take care.